What's going on, everyone? It's your girl Talia Jeanette. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you aren't new, welcome back. So today I just had to film this like right before I head out. I'm feeling this yellow hair, by the way. I think I'm gonna do an eyeshadow look. Maybe that'll be the next color of the week. I don't know yet, but I had to get this video up and going. We all know that in my normal everyday life, I am a preschool teacher, and I've been in childcare for almost 10 years. Eek. And there are a lot of pet peeves that teachers go through that I think parents don't realize, that admin doesn't realize. So today, this video is the top things that annoy teachers in the field. Number 10. Not considering the needs of the teachers. I get it. It's not rocket science. I understand that working in the office or working front of the house, it's a lot. But there needs to be some type of balance between the administrative team and the needs of the teachers. That can mean anything from something simple like a bathroom break to something like, I know my kids better than somebody sitting in the front or sitting in an office would know my kids. So it's a matter of, you need to consider your teachers. That goes for public school, private school, charter school, daycares, preschools, nurseries, however you want to look at it, folks. Setting low expectations for the children. I know some kids, like, you can tell a mile away that it ain't where it's at, but you got to set some type of realistic goals and some type of higher expectations for your kids, because if you're setting low expectations, what does that say about you as a teacher, folks? Parents are a top pet peeve of mine. They're a top pet peeve of a few teachers. When I say parents as a pet peeve, I'm not talking about the very, very small amount that are heavily involved with their children. They let you be your teacher. They let you do your job. I'm talking about those parents that come in and try to run your classroom. I'm talking about the parents who are not involved with anything academically with their kids, and then they want to know why their children are falling through the cracks. Their children are failing classes, and it's all because you are choosing not to be involved when you need to be. There has to be a happy meeting ground between school and at home. I get it. Some kids come from very harsh backgrounds. My mother was not always home to help me do homework because she was at work. However, there was always somebody around to make sure that they were on top of me doing my homework and studying for tests. It's inexcusable at this point. With all the technology, it's very inexcusable in this day. Lack of supplies. I know this is heavy in the public school system, where teachers are spending what little money they do make on their classrooms and not being reimbursed. As a preschool teacher, I lived that. I've lived it for countless years. I remember one center I worked at, I was there for 2 years, and when I tell you, I probably spent close to $900 on decorations, supplies in my room, because it was either the director wasn't around to order it or it wasn't in the budget for the month. But yet some of these preschools are charging college tuition. So we have to do better with either supplying the teachers. This goes back to the last few points of meeting the needs of the teachers. You're either going to find a way to accommodate supplies, or you're going to reimburse the teachers when they do spend what little peanuts you do pay them. Lack of or simply no respect. And I'm talking from other teachers. I'm talking about parents. I am talking about administration, that there is a lack of respect when it comes to teachers. I do not appreciate people telling me my job is not as hard as theirs. You don't know what it's like to sit with 8 screaming babies all day. You don't know what it's like to have 15 preschoolers that are bouncing off the walls. How dare you? How dare you side with a parent when you're not in the classroom all day? How dare you? There is a lack of respect for teachers in the country, not just the New York State public school system, the charter school system, whatever you want to call it. There is no respect for teachers when we are probably the one of the hardest working fields in the world. It is not, and I repeat, message me, comment, I don't care. We can argue about how hard it is to be a teacher. I don't like when people say that being a teacher, you took the easy route for school, when that's not the case, because you take your job home with you every day. If a kid falls through the cracks, you go home with that. If a child gets hurt on your watch, you go home with that. If a child fails a test multiple times, at some point, you go home with that. So let's try to have a little bit more respect for our teachers. One of my favorites, sick time. I'm trying to figure out why sick time is just not a thing. Like, I don't believe sick time should be accrued. I don't believe sick time should be limited to a certain amount of days. I can't predict how many times a year I'm going to be sick. I've lucked up where some years I've only been sick maybe twice, and I can predict when I usually get sick. But with all this corona and flu, with all of this going around, it is very hard to take time off as a teacher for multiple reasons. Because one, we don't have the time. Two, we've used the time because we constantly get sick because you're not teaching your children at home how to properly take care of themselves, or you're sending them to school sick, or we have to accrue the time. It's such an asinine thought. Like, I don't get it. Like, maybe I just need a mental health day. Like, why would I want to use my PTO if I can use sick days? But what do I know? Now, I can only speak from the preschool perspective. I'm not sure how this works in the public private school sector of it. But one of my personal pet peeves is corporate. I hate when corporate visits. From every center I've worked at, I've seen how the admin team gets when corporate walks in. Corporate cannot tell you what is going on in a school if they are not there all day. They cannot tell you what to do with certain things if they are not there to implement it, one, and see if it will work or if it doesn't. I don't like seeing people get all flustered and start running around like chickens when their heads cut off. I know me when corporate comes in, I still do me. I don't care if it's president, vice president, HR. I'm still doing me, because what I'm doing when you're not there is what I'm going to do when you're there. I'm not a fan of corporate visits at all, because corporate visits put so much pressure on certain people, and then that trickles down to everybody, and then everybody starts getting crazy. Things I don't have time for, that. Now, our top three things, and this was something that I got a lot of messages about. So number 3 are lazy co-workers. Nothing irks me more than a person who is being paid to do the same jobs that I do, and they're not. Like, I can make a whole video about lazy coworkers at this point. I can't. I will not do it. However, I find and rebuke lazy co-workers for the simple fact you are dealing with other people's children. You are dealing with, let me say it, other people's children. How dare you not be genuinely invested in these kids? I'm somebody that I put a lot of emotion into my job, and people will say it comes off as an attitude, and it's not. It's frustration when I'm busting my ass and I'm seeing other good teachers bust their ass, and lazy teachers are being praised, lazy teachers are getting recognized, and they're doing the bare minimum. It's not fair. If you are there because you love these kids, because you're genuinely invested, that is what you need to be there for. If you're there just for a check, you are taking up space. You can go work in retail then if you want to take up space and hang out with the mannequins, because being in childcare, it don't sound like it's for you. So, lazy coworkers, you gotta go. Number 2, and this, it probably should have been number 1, but I think a general consensus of the people that I spoke to and the people that responded to me, we all, like, the number 1 answer we kind of genuinely agreed on, but number 2 answer, schedule conflicts. I get it. We all have lives. We all have things we need to do outside of work. I get it. Some days working an 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour, however many hours you put in during a day, I can appreciate it. I can appreciate you having stuff to do. Me, I have a second job. So I leave one job and go to another. I know some people that are leaving work from doing a 7 to 4, and then they're going to school from 5 to 10 p.m. It's hard. I get it. However, the lack of consideration on the schedules are ridiculous when you have people that are going home to do nothing. People who can clock out and then they hang out at the job. You clock out and hang out in the building when you could have gave that shift to somebody else. The nerve, the gall, and the audacity of you. I'm not here for it. I think that honestly, if people have school or have second jobs, you should come first on the spectrum of needing to leave early or needing to have whatever schedule you have. And then let the others fall in line where they may. Not to say now, if you're willing to compromise with whoever, if it's possible for them to cover for you, switch shifts, do it. But working in a nursery, in a preschool, it's ridiculous. I know public school teachers have it a little bit better schedule-wise. Like, you get the summers off, you get every holiday off. A snowflake touches the ground, de Blasio closes school. Must be nice. Can't relate. Corona's going around and they're ready to shut down DOE at this point, sounds like. So, can't relate. Must be nice. But schedules, there has to be a better way, folks. There has to be a better way to do a schedule. And the number 1 problem, the number 1 pet peeve, if you disagree, something is wrong with you, or you're in on the scam with these people. But the number 1 pet peeve that the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter population and myself had decided on, admin. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have really good bosses. You have a really good front of house. You have a good office. And then sometimes you don't. Me personally, I think I've had the worst of the worst. I think I've had the best of the best. You might have had the worst of the worst. You might have had the best of the best. We can sit and debate it if you like. However, if you are an admin and you didn't start as a teacher, as an assistant teacher, as a para, as a substitute, you are in no place to ever bash or criticize a person who is currently going to school to be a teacher or who has been a teacher for X amount of years. I am all for observations and giving positive and constructive feedback. But some of y'all directors, principals, I can't even say principals because you have to go to school to be a principal. Directors, office managers, business managers, secretaries, receptionists, security guards. You have a lot of nerve and a lot of gall and a lot of audacity to criticize a person who has dedicated their time, effort, health, and money into a classroom. As I said, let me make the disclaimer. There are crap teachers. I have met some of them. I've worked with some of them. I get it. Sometimes everybody is not fit to be a teacher, but it is always those really good teachers that are being bashed the hardest, being critiqued the hardest, being watched the hardest, being criticized the hardest. You have to have a certain experience in a classroom. It is very easy to say, oh, class 801, they're doing X, Y, and Z. They're not doing what class 803 is doing. Are you in class 801 all day? I'm using 801 because that was my old class. Shout out 308, class 801. We were lit. The nerve, just the nerve, the gall, the audacity. I'd rather not. I'd rather a seasoned veteran teacher critique me on what I need to do better or how to be better. Nobody who has less experience than me or has zero experience in a classroom can ever tell me how to do me or what I'm doing. I don't appreciate people who are in admin that can't step into a classroom, because if it's that easy, you come step in and do it. I remember I had a director a while ago, a few years ago, and I always used to ask her for bathroom breaks, which, believe it or not, would take forever to get. And she would come to my room and just stand there. I would have kids crying, and she would just stand there. But then had the nerve to tell me one day she walked past my room and heard kids crying. I said, oh, it's tragic. Also had a receptionist who would not, I'm an infant teacher. She would not come into the classroom to give bathroom breaks. She would stand in the doorway and wait for me to come back. You got to do better. You really have to do better. I will not. And this is why I feel like when you're going for these positions in the admin teams, you need to have classroom experience. And I appreciate any job that, if it's in a daycare, if it's in a school, they ask you, do you have a lot of places are now starting to ask, do you have in-class experience? Because we're hiring receptionists and directors that have never stepped foot in a classroom, or they don't want to be bothered in a classroom. So if you guys feel I missed anything in this video, please comment below, message me, DM me. My DMs are always open until 9 p.m. That's when my bullshit hour ends. So yeah, I'm about to go head to my second job because I didn't go to my first job today. And I'm going to go enjoy that the sun is still out, and it's a rare day that I'm not at work and the sun is out. So until then, I will catch you in the next video.